Welcome to the AeriumX Masternode setup tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be going over from beginning to end how to get your very first Masternode set up. Now, if you plan on setting up multiple Masternodes on the same VPS, you're still going to follow these steps first before going on to an additional video we'll have to set up more Masternodes on the same VPS, which is a similar process, but a little bit different because we don't have to do these initial steps. So the first thing we want to do before we get started is make sure we have everything we need. Okay, so the first thing we need is a funded Vultr, I believe is what they call it, account. I've already created my account. You can go ahead and sign up and create your account here. So I've gone ahead. If I sign into my account, you'll see this is the screen that they have. We'll be coming back to this screen in a little bit. You are going to want to go to the billing section and fund your account. However, you can add $25, $50, $100 or something like that. And you could also check online. Sometimes there are promotions where you'll get a free $25 or $50 funded when you create a new account. So go ahead and search for Vultr discounts in 2018 or something like that and see if there is any discounts running. Now, the second thing you are going to need is a encrypted wallet with 1,000 plus AEX, AeriumX coins. The reason why I say 1,000 plus is because there is going to be a small transfer fee that you will need to cover when you send the 1,000 coins to the wallet for the Masternode. So generally you should have a little over 1,000, 1,010. You really only need 1,000.1 or point something, but for this scenario, let's just say 1,001 coins. So as you see right here, I have our AeriumX wallet. I have 2,129 coins. So we are going to be using 1,000 of those to set up our very first Masternode. Now that we have the two things we need, if you do not have a wallet, you just download it from the website. We'll have some training on that. And also getting your coins, you'll need to get that from the exchange. If you don't already have your 1,000 coins, we will make some additional training on that. So once you have those two things set up, that's what you're going to need to get started and setting up your Masternode. All right, so I've broken this down into just 4 easy steps, and we've already done the first step of making sure we have everything we need. So the second step is we want to set up our desktop wallet. Now, in the first step, I said we want an encrypted wallet. If you don't already have your wallet encrypted, I highly suggest you do that. To encrypt your wallet, you simply come to your wallet and you go to the settings and you click on Encrypt Wallet. And you see I've already set that up. It'll come up and have you set up a passcode. Now, you want to make sure this passcode is extremely unique, preferably a phrase or multiple words put together. So like 10 words like dog, jump, air, walrus, watermelon, flying, helicopter. And make it anywhere from 10 to 12 words. And of course, write this down, keep it safe, memorize it. But you want to make sure that you keep that phrase very safe. If you, for any reason, lose it or you forget it, you will not be able to withdraw or get your coins from your wallet. So once you encrypt your wallet, it is vital that you keep that passcode very, very safe. So now, once we have our wallet encrypted, we want to make sure that we have zAEX minting turned off. So if we go over to the options up here in our wallet, it says right here, enable zAEX auto minting. So you just turn that off and go ahead and click OK. Now, when we come back, the next part is actually setting up the Masternode key and address and depositing our coins. So for this part, what we need to do is go up to Tools and then click on this thing that says Debug Console. And that's going to open up this white window right here. Now, the first thing we need to type in there is this, Masternode genkey. And I'll have all this listed with the reference guide with this video. So when you put in Masternode genkey, type that in just like that, hit Enter. It's going to give you this gen key right here, okay? Now, you don't have to save this. Just keep this open. We're going to go right on to the next step. And what we want to do is type in getaccountaddress space, and then we're going to name our Masternode. This is just an alias that you're calling your Masternode. It can be anything you want, okay? So I'm just going to call this tutorial MN for tutorial Masternode. So you see how it says getaccountaddress space tutorial Masternode. I'm going to go ahead and click Enter. And this is going to give me my Masternode wallet address, which is what we have right here, okay? Once we have our Masternode wallet address, we need to send the 1,000 AEX coins to that wallet address. So it's very simple. I'm going to highlight this by double clicking and use Control-C and copy that account address. And I'm going to jump on over to my wallet right over here, and I'm going to put the address in Pay To. Now you can match up the address. You see right here, ACC, and then UR73, but also notice that it puts the label of the address right here. So you should see whatever you named your Masternode right here, up here in the label. Now go ahead and put 1,000 coins right here in the wallet, should say 1,000, and then click Send. Now for me, my wallet's encrypted, your wallet should be encrypted too. And you're going to have to enter your passphrase now to send your token. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my passphrase real quick, and then go ahead and send these. Okay, so I've entered in my passphrase. I'm going to click OK, and it'll give you one more quick warning here. Are you sure you want to send 1,000 AEX to? And you should have your Masternode name right there, and then the wallet address. Double confirm, triple confirm that you are sending it to the Masternode, to the proper address that matches up right here. If you send it to the wrong location, then you will not be able to recover your coins. So once you've made sure, triple check, quadruple check that everything matches up, you go ahead and click Yes. And it's going to go ahead and send your transaction. It's going to say the amount negative the transaction fee, because this is actually sending this transaction to yourself. All right, so now that we've sent that 1,000 coins to the wallet, what we need to do is get the Masternode outputs, okay? Now something I want to point out, if we go over to the transactions, when we get our Masternode output, if you double click the transaction right here, you're going to notice that the output matches the transaction ID. This is very important once we get starting to set up our multiple masternodes, keeping track of what transaction ID matches with what masternode. But just know that if you double click on the payment that you made for that masternode, the transaction key will be your masternode output, and then it'll give you the other output we're going to use to set up our configuration file. That may have sounded very confusing, but it's really easy to do. Now we've sent this transaction to ourselves. You see it has a little question mark here. What we want to do is, before we go ahead and set up the server and everything, we want to set up our configuration file, but we also need to make sure that this right here is fully processed, because the masternode will not function if we do not have the 1,000 coins deposited. So as you see right here, I already have a bunch of masternodes set up. I've blurred these out because I can't have you seeing all of my masternode information. But what you need to know is how you need to put this information in here. So just assume that this is a blank Word document or a blank Notepad document. Yours should be blank if you haven't set up any masternodes. So you're going to paste this example code that I have right here. And I'm going to give you this example code with the checklist, again, that's going to go along with this training. So you should have that. So you go ahead and you put this right in here. Now this is what you're going to need to change here. mynode, this is going to be the name that you named your masternode. So that was tutorial MN. Okay, now you got to make sure that this matches up. So tutorial MN. Okay, now this second number right here, this one is going to be this number, the very first key that you generated when you created this. So go ahead and copy that and come back over here, and we're going to highlight this and replace it with that number right there. So again, see how that matches up? 64OW. It's this number right here, the gen key that we created. Now this number right here, this is the IP. We're going to get that once we set up the VPS side. So we're not going to put that in yet. Now this last number right here is the output that we need to generate once our transaction has gone through. So wait till this goes through. I'm going to just pause this for a minute. Once it comes through, we're going to come back and check our outputs and then finish the rest of that config file. All right, so now that the payment has fully transferred, you see there's a check mark next to it. Ignore the one that's received above. That was just another deposit. If we open this up, you see all the confirmations there. Now, if we go back to our checklist, what we want to get is type in Masternode outputs, and we want to put Masternode outputs right here in the console, and then hit enter. Okay, now mine has a bunch here, right? Which I said I already have a bunch of masternodes set up, so that's where you might get confused. I'm looking for this one that starts with 454. So I'm going to blur some of these out, but I'm going to find it real quick and then I'll show it to you. So here's 454. This is what you should see on yours. You should just have one of these. You shouldn't have a bunch of them. You'll just see one of these. Now this is what you need to put in the config file down at the bottom here. So I'm going to go over here and you just double click. You can highlight this number. This number right here, this text hash, is going to go this number right here, so just put that right there, and then this output ID, that is going to be this number right here on the end. So we're going to go ahead and put 0. Okay, now essentially we're pretty much done with setting the wallet up. Now that we have all of that set up, we are going to go on to step 3, which is actually setting up the VPS. Now, you don't have to necessarily do this in this order. You will need this end set up first to really get the masternode going from the wallet end, but you could have set up the VPS while you were waiting for this transaction to process. So just keep that in mind. All right, so now we were on to step 3, setting up the VPS. So the first thing we have to do is create the instance. So when you sign into your account here, you're going to be on instances. You just want to click this blue plus button right over to the corner here. And this is where you're going to set up an instance to deploy your masternode. Now, selecting a location isn't really important. Select whatever location you want. I'm just going to click Dallas there. Scrolling down for the server type, number 2, you're going to want to select this one right here. Not even sure how to pronounce that, to be honest. The 16.04 times 64 is the version that'll work for you. And then if you scroll down to the bottom here, the server size, this will depend on how many masternodes you plan on running on the server. For the smallest version right here, you can put anywhere from 5 to 10 masternodes. This one, I'll say anywhere from 10 to 20. This where anywhere from 15, 20 plus. Right now I'm running about 12, 13 on the $5 one. I started running into issues when I was getting above that, mostly with the memory consumption. Now, if you start off on a lower package, you could always upgrade later without having to start all over and set everything up again. So you don't have to worry about starting off on a high package just because 2-3 months from now you plan on having a bunch more masternodes. So I'm going to start off with the $5 a month just because I know I'm going to be putting multiple masternodes on here, and it's going to go ahead and set up your cloud instance. This might take a few minutes to install, so we're just going to wait a minute while this installs, and then once it is done, we're going to sign in and go ahead and get everything set up. All right, so now that the server is set up, the first thing that we want to do is go ahead and finish setting up our config file in our wallet, because now we have our IP address that we didn't have before. So you're going to go ahead and copy this IP address and jump on back over to your wallet configuration, and this number down here, right here, actually this was IP, I just have the other number in there. So this number right here where the IP was, that's where you want to put your IP. You're going to leave the port the same exact, this 35407. Leave that, put your IP in there, go ahead and click save on this Masternode config file, and go ahead and close that. Now we want to jump back over here, and what we need to do is sign into the server. So click on these 3 little dots and go to View Console, and then also click on Server Details, because we're going to need this password and this username right here to sign in. So once we open this up, you can just hit enter, and then it'll give you the login. So you type in root, and then you go ahead and type in the password. As you type in the password, it is not going to show anything being typed, so be aware of that. Okay, so now we have signed in. Let me scroll down here. And now what we need to do is type in this long command here, which is going to set up the Arium wallet and everything we need. So it's this right here, this wget with this entire thing right here. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in now. So once you have that all typed in, you just hit enter. Okay, and if you typed in something wrong, that's the error you'll get. So I'm going to go ahead and type this in again. Okay, so if everything goes well like it just did, then it should go ahead and start running the script and getting everything set up for you. This could take a few minutes, so just go ahead and let this run until it finishes, and then we'll go ahead and enter the settings that it asks for. Alright, so now that everything's finished, it's going to be asking for some information. For the username, you can go ahead and just put whatever you want. Just make sure it's something complicated that can't be easily solved. Same with this password here. Again, just something that's complicated. Now for the IP address, you're going to want to put your VPS IP address that you have right here. So that is the 45.32.194.208. Make sure that matches the IP address of your VPS. All right. Go ahead and click enter. And now your Masternode keygen, that is the original keygen that we generated from our wallet right here. So we want to enter that in right above this, or right below this. So don't make sure that you get this correct and don't screw anything up. Type it in exactly as it is, or you will have issues. So once you have that all typed in correctly, go ahead and hit enter. And now it should say that Arium server starting. So it should be all set up then and ready to go. Now, since we already have the server starting, we actually don't need to do that. All we can do is just check the server info real quick. So if we type in .AeriumX.cli get info, we should see this info right here, okay? And if you see something like this, that means that is all set up correct. So now what we need to do is go on to the last and final step in the wallet here and get the actually start the Masternode from our wallet. So we will go on to the last and final step, step 4. All right, we are back here at our Arium wallet. We still have all this stuff open from before. I'm going to close the console. We want to go ahead and close our wallet, and then we want to reopen our wallet once we've closed it. And the reason why we need to reboot it is so it can load from that new config file that we had saved earlier. So once it boots up, it'll have that new configuration file in there, and then we can go ahead and start our server. So if we just go over to Masternodes right here, you should see your Masternode listed at the bottom. Okay, so make sure everything gets started here. Just give it a second to catch up. And what we're actually going to have to do is first unlock our wallet. So click on settings, go to unlock your wallet, and you're going to have to type in your passphrase. Okay, so now once our wallet's unlocked, All we have to do is click on tutorial MN right here and click start alias, and it'll say, are you sure you want to start the Masternode tutorial M? Go ahead and click yes. Looks like we can just type in the passphrase here. All right, alias tutorial MN successfully started, right? So that's what you should get. Go ahead and click OK there. And now if we jump back on over to our server right here, you might have to wait another second or two, but what we want to do is we can double check that the server is running. We actually don't need that. All we want to do is type in /AeriumX-CLI Masternode space status. Okay, just like that. Hit enter. Now, if it says node just started, wait for remote activation, not yet start or not yet activated, that just means that this wallet hasn't synced up with the server yet. So just give it another minute. You see status of update automatically. Just give it 2 more seconds, and then we'll come back and check this really quick. All right, so I just gave it a few minutes. Let's go ahead and try it again real quick. All right, so you see when we typed in that side time, it has the hash, has our address, and it has the message Masternode successfully started. Now you'll see in the wallet here, it's going to say 0 minutes, 0 seconds. This isn't always going to be perfectly up to date. Don't worry, just give it time. You're going to have to wait about 24 hours on this clock before this thing actually starts getting into motion. After 24 hours, sometime after that, within the next 8 hours after that, you're going to get your first Masternode reward, and then about every 8 hours after that you'll be getting your reward. So if you go a full 2-3 days and you don't get any rewards, then something is wrong with your Masternode setup. But that's pretty much it. You're all set up now. Your Masternode is running. It should say you're active, enabled in your wallet here. As this runs, say 10, 20, 50 minutes, an hour, come back and check. This timer should have some time on it, and you are all set up. Of course, if you have any questions at all, you could ask in the Masternode Discord group. We will put together some troubleshooting videos for anyone that has any specific errors or things that come up. If this is your very first Masternode, though, you aren't setting up multiple, so you're setting up multiple Masternodes, but you follow this tutorial and you followed it through and you got to the end and you had an error, sometimes it's just best to try and scrap the entire server and just go make another instance and try and do this process over again on the VPS side. If you set everything up on your wallet side properly and you check your Masternode config file and you sent your coins to the right address, you don't need to change anything on your wallet. The issue is 99% on the VPS side. So if you run into issues on these last steps here setting up the VPS, trying to troubleshoot it can get difficult. Your best bet is sometimes just to scrap the server and follow these steps again and try and do it so it works out properly. If you do have any error messages though, or you keep coming across the same problems, again, ask in the Discord group or in Telegram, and we'll do our best to get those answers for you.